That's true. Naked Palpatine.
Oh, you pick that one. Fresh out of the clone tank, nude Palpatine is my
Well, that's the first thing I think of when you say Dark Empire Palpatine.
You're gonna hear that. I'm not turning it off. I know it's kind of distracting, but it is hot as hell in here. Like, maybe I'm already dead, but California went from a little bit warm to hot in a couple days, so I'm dying. So I apologize for the noise that you will definitely hear in this, but I'm not turning it off for the sake of the video because I will die. So, welcome back. It's been a while. It's been a long while, actually. Last time we were here was during the New Jedi Order period. We have... No, not true. It was after Dark Nest. Yeah. We have another possible, not really, story within the expanded universe. A drunken dream that Luke has after parting too hard one night in retirement. A third alternative timeline where these events may or may not have taken place, but probably not considering the ending to the third book, but we'll get there. Today I have for you HOT45's fanfiction, Sword of the Jedi 1, Remembrance. Overall it was okay. It was an okay start. It's kind of hard to get into it because I know where it's going. There were a couple contradictions that are still there. Apparently he edited it in 2021 and did not fix any of them. He just fixed some typos and things and prose. So I want to get the contradictions out of the way. Piggy says he wants to be called Vort, even though at the very end of Mercy Kill he says he's returning to Piggy. Okay? Secondly, they travel to Yavin and the temples are still around, even though they got destroyed in Edge of Victory. So those are the two main ones I noticed. Other than that, I thought it was fine. It felt a bit like Bantamera, but also, you know, we have all the legacy characters. We got Jag Fell with he's growing a beard now like his dad. We have Jaina Solo. We have Ben Skywalker. We have Tahiri Vela. We have Tino Ka. We have Alana. And very much true to form, like Crucible promised, Luke, Leia, and Han. Actually, I don't even know if Leia's in this book at all. But Luke and Han, the legacy characters, are very much in the background. They are not the forefront of the story. However, I would still argue that Jaina should be the focal point, and she's not. Because HOT45 made this to be the conclusion to the expanded universe instead of just another entry point like Christy Golden was writing. Now, after this trilogy, he did in fact write more, but, you know, this was his first ever story. There's some intriguing things. The last time we saw Zamina Sakat was in Darkness 1, where we were catching up with Tahiri and the Vong and seeing what life is like after Unifying Force. But since then, Darkness 2, Darkness 3, all of Legacy of the Force, the books in between that, Fate of the Jedi, we have no idea what's been going on with the Vong, or what's been going on with Zamina Sakat, or the state of affairs with all the Vong whatsoever. The only even recognition of Vong that we had so far within the official timeline was Mercy Kill with Scut, the Yusong Vong X-Wing pilot, a part of Race Squadron. Speaking of which, Race Squadron does return in this book, and while I get it that HOT45 wanted this to be the end game, you know, like in the MCU, he wanted this to be the true ending to the expanded universe, so he includes like everybody, but you know, it doesn't really work that way. it really doesn't. That being said, Ben and Tahiri are on this mission looking for somebody, which is ultimately pointless, but he wanted to include them to give them, and they have some character moments that are nice, but we'll get into it more in spoilers. Vistara Kai is back. She ends up meeting with a one Sith member that's brand new to this book, which is fine. And so obviously they're setting up her joining up with the one Sith. But yeah, but with the planet Zamna Sakat, the whole mystery is what happened to it, where'd it go. Also, we have Alliance ships, but not necessarily Alliance personnel, attacking Vong in the unknown regions. So they are trying to prevent a war from happening. All this I'm actually pretty for. I mean, I've been wanting to know what's up with the Vong for a long time, so I'm actually very much for this sort of plot structure here of what they're trying to go for. And there's some good character interactions and some nobody feels really out of character. There are some moments where I raise my eyebrows a bit, but by and large, I thought it was perfectly fine. It was, to me, better than the Force Heretic trilogy and New Jedi Order. Like I said, it's fine. It's not great. It's not bad. It was fine. Most of my gripes are going to come from future stories, but as for an entry into a possible version of events, this was a good opener. I'm interested, not excited. I should say I'm interested to see where it goes from here, because I don't know the journey. I know the destination, and I hate the destination on principle. And I think most people do, except for those. There's having a hate for Denning, which is understandable, whatever. But even people that disagree with me wholeheartedly, there are certain individuals I know online that also would hate what this story ends up doing. But we'll get to that when we get to that. But as for this first entry, if I'm judging it by itself, even as a fan fiction, if I'm judging it by a fan fiction, it's actually pretty well written. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty up there. But a lot of people hype this up as the next step after Crucible. The fixer-upper to the Denning-verse. I hate that term, but this is supposed to be the fix to it. And nothing about this is, super stellar. It's fine. I just don't get this, this is the savior. This is what, this fixes everything. It doesn't. At least not this first book. It's fine. But it teases Dala at the end, so I imagine she'll be a character in the next story arc. So we'll see what happens in the second book, Revenge. I also think the single word titles kind of suck. I mean, so does Crucible. But I don't know. There's Remembrance, Revenge, and Redemption. I don't know. It's okay. But yeah, that's about it. I don't want to give. There's not too much else to say. Not too much happens in this book. Zek and Tarn get married, so there's this whole bachelor party and bachelorette party sort of situation at the beginning. It's really sweet and wholesome. I liked it. There's a lot of good little character moments in here. Now I'm all for that. I'm all for good character moments. So yeah, that's about it for my non-spoiler. You, of course, can read this entirely for free on Star Wars, not Star Wars, on fanfiction.net. Handle HOT45, you'll find them. But yeah, that's about it for me. I'm getting spoilers. If you don't want any, time to bail. There's a really nice conversation between Han and Leia, Han and Jaina in the beginning of the book, and I really enjoyed that. So we get to see Rey squadron again with Vort or Piggy, Scut, all of them, and someone's trying to start a war with the Vong, which is a very important plot point here. We also go visit Ben and Tahiri as they're on a mission together, and they end up going to Tatooine. They get captured by Tuskens, yada yada. And then to me, it feels kind of fanfiction-y, because why would they just start telling, if I'm being charitable, Tahiri has a history with the Vong. Yes, that's true, but I meant the Tuskens. So maybe they'd be more open to talking to her about it, but they even say, like, you're still an outlander, even if you used to live with us. But, you know, they talk about Obi-Wan without explicitly saying Obi-Wan. They talk about Ashrod Het, because he's going to be the upcoming villain of the series. And I don't know, it just felt kind of fanfiction-y. Then also there's this whole thing where Ben sees, like, a recording of Biggs Darklighter, you know, and it really harps back to, like, this all started here, da-da-da-da-da-da. You know, to me, it just felt really ham-fisted in. Again, this is Hannah-Thrawn 45's very first fanfiction, but I feel like, because, you know, everybody says, like, his stuff, as he continues writing, gets better and better. And I know that's true because I've read the finale to Coruscant Nights and Republic Commando, and I know those are written better, but that's also because there's more constraints on what, you know, he can actually do. But, you know, as much as you wanted to tell the finale to the Star Wars Expanded Universe, maybe you should have started with some of those other smaller stories first before tackling this big project, you know, like, I don't know. But, anyway, so they basically tell her about Ashrod without using his name. There's Voxen and Yavin, and the Sith are working with the Voxen, which means the Sith and the Voxen mean the Sith and the Vong are possibly working together. Like, what's going on there? It's a whole thing. It is interesting. Bel's kind of being the intermediary between the Wraith Squadron members and the Empire. And, you know, one of the characters speculates and asks him about the future of the Empire. And I'm curious to see, because I don't think it happens in this trilogy, obviously, but I'm curious to see moving forward what Hannah-Thrawn 45 will do for setting up the Bell Empire that we see in the Legacy comics. Visara also gets her arm chopped off, so now her and Tino Ka can have some fun together. One-arm girls fighting each other to the death, maybe? I don't know. But Jaina cuts it off, so that's something. So, Crucible established that Luke has Jedi, like just a whole bunch of Jedi teams going out to find the Mortis Dagger, a Mortis Monolith, and a Mortis Dagger, so they can kill Abeloth completely and utterly, because she's still out there in the unknown regions, like literally having a tentacle spawn out of thin air sometimes and kill people, because that's what it says at the end of freaking Fate of the Jedi, and it's just like left hanging in the air. But so he has people looking on that. But as far as this fanfiction is concerned, he also has a bunch of Jedi looking for the one Sith, because he doesn't know what the one Sith is. He doesn't even have a name for it. He just recognizes that from what the guy said, because he doesn't have a name, whatever that dark being, you know, talked about, that there are probably other Sith besides the Lost Tribe. So he has them looking for that. There's actually a really good scene where Fel has to have a family catch-up moment with his sister, who's still part of the Chiss, and two of his brothers are dead. It's just him and her, and it's a really good scene. So like I said, Hannah-Thrawn 45 excels at little personal character moments, but as for this whole plot as a whole, I'm interested, for sure. A bit of me is soured because I know where it goes, partially. But as for this first outing, if I'm looking at it, you know, this is back in the day. Hannah-Thrawn has only released this story. There's nothing else. I don't know anything else. I just have this on the basis alone. I'd say this is pretty decent. I don't know if it deserves all the hype, but I'm excited to see, or interested to see, where it could go from here. But that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Up next, we'll talk about Revenge fanfiction by Hannah-Thrawn 45, the second book in his version of the Sword of the Jedi trilogy. Until next time, guys, may the Force be with you.